This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carannante.
Welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carannante. Not the podcast I thought we'd be doing on Thursday, on Monday. And in a good way. Like, what changed between now and then? What woke up the Yankees? What gave them a clutch gene? What allowed them to make their first comeback in the seventh inning or later all season? And then their second of the season in the third game of the series after the worst moment of the season, arguably in the opener. Take your pick. The 8-4 game, pretty bad. So like maybe that's it. Maybe that's the worst. But for my money, and also got personal ties. I mean, I'm on a 9-game losing streak now after attending Monday's game. Left at the second rain delay. Got a puppy. Got to take care of that puppy. I have not left Yankee Stadium with a lead since August 2023. So with the opportunity to do that, I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and take that. You know, I'm not going to sit here for her. And then the delay wasn't that long. And then it became an official game. And I was like, great, rain it out now. And then it wasn't raining. But then it started raining again. And I was like, all right, we can rain it out now, actually. You know, we definitely don't need to play through rain. It's 3-0. And then they didn't rain it out. They kept playing. It was terrible. Then the Yankees won that series after trailing 3-2 in the seventh inning of the second game of that series against the best bullpen in baseball at this moment in time. We know that changes week over week, month over month. But right now, best bullpen in baseball. The Padres had not lost a game. They led after the seventh inning all year. And they didn't lead the second one after the seventh inning. But they sure as hell led last night's game after the seventh inning. Yankees went ahead and took that one, too. And, oh, by the way, the New York Knicks just took 2 road playoff games in Boston. Not just one, but 2. 2 of them. One's crazy. The defending champs blowing a 20-point lead in the third quarter. That's crazy. That never happens once. That just happened twice. So probably going to have to talk about that a little bit, too, just because this is a podcast that we have. We don't have a Knicks podcast. We have this. And if you're watching the Yankees, you're probably watching the Knicks. And if you're watching the Knicks, you probably missed 2 of the wildest Yankee games of the year. We're here to recap them for you as best we can. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show, 2 o'clock Eastern every Monday, every Thursday, and then on all podcast platforms. In the aftermath, if you're an audio person, I think many of you are, because we got more audio listeners than we do viewers, but that's okay. I'm Adam Weiner, joined by Thomas Carannante. Welcome to the show, jubilant show, as the Yankees head on a West Coast trip. Got a late night game Friday, but you know what? Doesn't feel. I still am happy to have the off day. Off day feels great. Just get to kind of reflect on 2 incredible games and some basketball that also feels really good. It's good to feel good for even a little bit.
It really is. I cannot believe that they came back after what they did on Monday. Monday was almost the last straw for me because it represented another game that I had covered since I had returned from vacation. They had not won a night game that I was on for. And then Carlos Rodon goes 6 2/3 scoreless. They're up 3-0. I said, this is it. I'm home free. Got a couple innings left. Should be easy. And then I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened. The rain, ridiculous. You know, 2 of the most absurd rain games you'll see all year with Yankees and Giants and then Yankees and Padres. They wanted to squeeze it in to not create conflict on the off day. I totally understand it. You run into a situation where Rodon gets a little bit into a little bit of trouble in the 7th inning.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the bullpen, smart move. Fernando Cruz gets out of it, and then just idiocy transpired. Cruz throws 2 pitches. Boone takes him out, goes to Devin Williams. And the issue wasn't with going to Devin Williams, in my opinion, in that situation. It was using a man for 2 pitches and then claiming in the postgame that he just pitched 2 innings on Saturday, so you didn't want to overdo him. And then you bring him in the next night.
Yep.
So that was baffling because it was clear that Cruz had more room to work with, and it would have given the Yankees more flexibility without maybe having to put somebody else in a pressure pack situation. And secondly, bringing in Williams there, is it the worst decision in the world? No, but like his entire thing is the grip on that changeup, and you're going to bring him in when it's pouring rain. Oh, look, I know grip is important for all pitchers, but I think I think Williams' situation is a little bit more nuanced than most, with how crucial it is for his changeup to be on. I also don't see the value in removing him from the closer role and then immediately thrusting him into more high leverage situations. And look, I thought there was a great job done with this in the Orioles and Rays series, obviously. And then I don't know why this was the situation. I know maybe you're trying to graduate him into high leverage of a different capacity, but this just didn't feel right for so many reasons. And then that leads to Luke Weaver collapsing, his first falter of the year. And somehow Carlos Rodon goes 6 2/3 scoreless, and the Yankees end up using their 4 best relievers in what was a losing effort. So the fact that they came back to win on Tuesday the manner they did with a 10-run 7th inning or whatever it was it 10 runs?
Oh, yeah.
Actually?
It was literally 10. It was,
yeah.
And they have not done that at home. I mean, obviously 10 runs in an inning is wild. 10 runs in an inning when you're trailing is even wilder to pull off the win, but they hadn't done that. I would have assumed they would have done this more recently. The 2011, when they dropped 11, I think, in the first inning on Zach Britton, which is a game I remember so well, weirdly. Zach Britton, the starter with the Orioles, just getting clobbered at Yankee Stadium. Just Cano, Andrew Jones over and over again. And then, of course, though, my brain, that was the first inning. So I was like, all right, can you hold the 11-0 lead? They did. And my brain in this one, when Oswald Peraza dropped the third out of the game up 12-3, I was like, can you hold it? Here comes Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, are you guys sure about this? You really want to do this? Yerry De Los Santos looked pretty good. Gets the job done. I'll take him over Carlos Carrasco. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But yeah, so to break it down to its studs, Yankee fans are going to be biased and quick to jump at the throat of Aaron Boone for bringing in Devin Williams anytime it fails for the rest of the year. Like, we're not going to be logical about it. We're not going to have sympathy for his process and be like, the process made sense, but the result didn't. Because Devin Williams is a lightning rod right now, and for good reason. Because he blew a 4-run lead, he blew a 1-run save, and he nailed, shaved several 3- and 4-run leads down to 1 and barely escaped blowing just so many games. The Yankees' Pythagorean record right now is 24-13, I believe, 3 additional wins. So of the 8th inning blown leads, they've given the Yankees 3 of those essentially in terms of mathing out the percentages. And however you want to do that, you can. The Yankees obviously took an 8th inning deficit back for the first time in a long time yesterday. So I think it sort of evens out finally for the first time in forever, at least a little bit. But yeah, the Yankees should be at least 2 or 3 wins better than they are right now, objectively. And it's just Devin Williams and Mark Leiter. If those people didn't exist, Leiter blew 2 8th inning leads and Williams blew Monday's game, which I never want to think about again, and we hopefully will never talk about again after this podcast, plus the 4-run game, plus the Blue Jays game. So without those guys, we're talking about
the extra innings Pirates.
And the extra inning Pirates game, which didn't seem that bad at the time, but obviously in retrospect, the Pirates have 12 wins and they fired their manager, and they're one of the worst teams in baseball. And we're like, hey, you're gonna get walked off on the road sometimes. But you can't really do that. So if Devin Williams had not done what Devin Williams had done earlier in the season, and Leiter Jr., we would be talking about the Yankees as the runaway American League favorites right now. And the American League East is sloppy. It's a mess. You've got the 500 Red Sox in second, and you've got some under 500 teams, but beyond them, the Orioles are like getting closer to count them out territory. You can't do it, but they're like 10 under, and they're in last place, and they might fire the manager. They have the most fireable manager in baseball right now that Derek Shelton is gone. So that's the context in which we're appraising every Devin Williams decision. He gets no grace, and he doesn't really deserve it entering that Monday game. So if he gets through the sopping wet weather and the Yankees win that game 3-0, we'll look past it. We'll forget it. But as soon as he has trouble against the bottom of the lineup, against Tyler Wade, walks Tyler Wade, gives up a hit to Brandon Lockridge, walks Luis Arraez on 4 pitches, who is a guy who doesn't walk and really wants to get a hit there. Loves to hit. It's his favorite thing. Does not want to walk. Probably angry. He had to take the walk. 3-0 is a lead that Devin Williams, even in his compromised state, if you're trying to get him in a lower leverage, he should be able to hold that. Yeah. But I'm not giving Aaron Boone that right now based on where Devin Williams was at this season entering that game. And if it feels like the Yankees struggle in the rain, it's because they do. They lead in worst ERA in wet weather so far this year, according to Fangraphs. 6.11 ERA.
That's a stat.
In rainy conditions. It was cited by someone who is usually a Twitter troll to me. Actually helped me out for the first time ever by citing that
troll.
stat. So shout out to a troll. But it's true. If it feels like Yankees can't pitch in the wet, it's because they can't. And Devin Williams uniquely not suited to pitch in wet weather. So I don't know why Devin Williams is the move in the rain. I don't know why that game continued, honestly. Not to be a jerk about it, but I would say that the Yankees have been at the behest of MLB's worst weather decisions twice this year. The Friday night game where they got blown out and Marcus Stroman's start should not have been played. They got through 5 innings and then washed it out. Of course they did, because it was unsafe to play. So as soon as it was official, they said, let's get out of here. Stroman got hurt. Yoenders Gomez almost got hurt. He was down like 4 miles an hour in velocity. Like, that's what we're playing through just to get a loss on the Yankees ledger. So shout out to the umpires for that one. And then here, there was a window to play, but it was tough to get through. And they delayed the game a half hour, and then they played for about an hour, and then it started pouring again. Then they delayed it for a half hour and got through the 5th with the Yankees in the lead. And it wasn't raining. So at that point, you don't delay it. You keep it going. But then it started raining again, and then it got pretty untenable, and it was hard, and it was gross. And once they work out of that jam in the 7th inning, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not objective. I am biased. But 3-0, 7th inning, we're in the bottom of the 7th. The weather's getting worse. You can delay and call that game. You fully can delay and call that game. There is no reason to say we need to get through the extra 2.5 innings as the conditions worsen. Like, games used to get delayed and called. It used to happen. It doesn't happen anymore. Now the umpires wait desperately, try to stretch it out as long as they can. And now sometimes they even suspend games and restart them the next day, where back in the day, you used to lose stats. Umpires used to just go, we messed up. We can't play this game. Like, these stats never happened. This is canceled. Now MLB is like, we're resuming this tomorrow with the same pitcher on the mound. Like, okay, great. Yeah, that's not going to work. So yeah, I was bummed the game kept going, and more bummed when Devin Williams bungled this game. Probably the worst of the year. And then Luke Weaver came in and made it so much worse, which is not going to happen every time Luke Weaver comes in. It's going to happen sometimes. You know, no pitcher is perfect, and Manny Machado with the bases loaded and Xander Bogaerts with runners on, it's a less than enviable situation. To think that we got from that game to a 10-run 7th inning to Devin Williams coming in with the ghost runner on in extra innings on Wednesday night, like in a game where the Yankees tie it up in the 8th, nobody can score in the 9th, and you see Williams towing the rubber. And again, he doesn't deserve grace at this point based on what he's done. And you go, oh, cool. This is either going to be somehow the most inspiring moment of the season or just the absolute nadir, just the lowest of the, like, walk, wild pitch, single, walk, out, boo, can never pitch on Yankee Stadium mound ever again. Like, if Williams had not delivered yesterday, I don't know if he could come into another home game for a while. You're talking about phantom IL shit.
But in an Aaron Hicks situation, yeah.
I would have been for sure, and I wouldn't begrudge any fan from turning it into one at that point. Like, it's the data is too overwhelming to say, like, yeah. These fans need to give him, you know, his space. What are they supposed to do? Every time he comes in at home, he ruins a baseball game. So, but he was unreal. He was nails. The best case scenario happened, and then the Yankees had a 30-year-old rookie backup catcher walk the game off. Hopefully not the best this season gets. I'd like to have a better season than saying 21-16 in May is the peak, but early peak for sure. And steering out of a hole, absolutely wild week in the Bronx.
Well, look, the resilience here is what I think has people inspired, right? After Monday's game, the Yankees had led the league with 5 losses leading after the 8th inning or later, which was just, it's inexplicable for that to happen through your first 43 games or 42 games or whatever it was. Whatever the case, that shouldn't happen in your first 70 games. That's an insane stat unless you are not staffing a bullpen, and the Yankees have a bullpen that is actually pretty good. You look at also on Monday in the loss, Aaron Judge goes hitless, and they once again go hitless with runners in scoring position, 0 for 4. and you waste the Carlos Rodon start. So like you're in it. Like this is as bad as it gets after you follow up that weekend with the Rays series and how you performed last week against the Orioles. So it just felt like everything was snowballing. Then you have Tuesday where it looks like they coughed it up, right? They give up 2 runs, they go down 2-0, they immediately score those runs back, and then they give the run back in the top of the 7th, and
it's
like,
Fernando Cruz after his 2-pitch outing. So you're like, oh, good job, everybody. Like you're saving him for a game that you needed him, and then he blew this one. He could have saved yesterday's, but he'll just blow this one instead.
So it was more, and look, like we're not forgetting about the excuse we talk about Sunday with Aaron Boone saying JC Escarra was more experienced than your B-Boss, which is technically true, but is not true. Then you have Monday where he said he's trying to rest Cruz, but he brings him in. What, like in that scenario, what if on Monday you bring Cruz in, right, and he ends up throwing 12 pitches because he either walks a couple of batters or walks a batter and then gets into, a 7-pitch at bat and then gets the out? Like, what's the difference between 2 and 12 at that point? Or 2 and 15? There is none. So, like, the reasoning there, everyone's scratching their head. Then he comes in the next day again, gives that up, and you're like, well, whatever. And then, of course, who's up to lead off the 7th? It's Jason Dominguez batting righty.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, great. The start of another 1-2-3 inning. He helicopters a ball to center field, hustles out a double. Really great moment, and that spurred the absolute avalanche. The Yankees score 12 runs in this game, largely because of Austin Wells' efforts. He had 5 RBI in that 10-run inning, including the grand slam that essentially shut the door. You get poor Wandy Peralta, man. That was just not nice.
There's also a video. I think he had a tell that they picked up on pretty quickly.
Yeah, they were relaying the signs.
It's not like the stuff was overly impressive either, and a 4-pitch walk to start it, and it was like, oh boy, here we go. But I think Cody Bellinger had the sign. I think everybody had the signs. Bellinger at second was giving them to Wells, and not prepared and no switch up. But he got pretty beaten.
4-pitch walk with the bases loaded too on the first batter he faced after being called in. So at that point it was going to be bad. But they turned around on this one, 6 for 12 with runners in scoring position. So you go the last week and the weekend into Monday with just absolute woes in runners in scoring position, and then you cash in on 50% of your opportunities in a night where you badly needed a victory. Clark Schmidt, got to give him props, battled through those 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, 7 hits and a walk. So for as frustrated as we've been with in between the iffy performances and the injury troubles that keep popping up and are not really resolved, that was a great outing. And then you have last night where they're getting no hit through 6 2/3, and you're just like, all right, whatever. Max Fried doing his thing. Thank God for him, by the way. Like the way that the fact that he was able to keep the Yankees in this game the way that he did, and provide the length that he did, 7 innings through 100 pitches with the Yankees being completely useless in offense. The Yankees won this game 4-3, 3 hits, top 4 in the order, went 0 for 16 with 5 strikeouts. And if you have that go down to Oswaldo Cabrera at the number, what is that, 5, 6, 7. If you have that go down to all the way to number 8 in the order, they had gotten 2 hits. Cody Bellinger got 2 of them. Cody Bellinger turned on the Dylan Cease fastball on an 0-2 count. He needed 1 more strike to get out of 7 no-hit innings. So we had a clutch home run there. And then more bullpen antics with Ian Hamilton. But the fact that Bellinger was able to jump on a pitch like that in a time of need where they desperately had to get some sort of action going, because you knew in the next inning with had Bellinger got out there, Anthony Volpe leading off, he still has not been, well, I know he had 2 hits in the night before, but just overall has not looked right. Would have been bad. And then Aaron Boone pressing the right buttons with Trent Grisham pinch hit. going to Luke Weaver for 1 2/3, and then the JC Escarra pinch hit. But yeah, I mean, Williams in extras, nobody felt good about that, right? That came together, and you were like you said, it was just, this is either going to make this even worse. And like, look, I think it was the wrong decision. I still do, because if that doesn't go your way, again, that's a runner in scoring position that can easily score. Brandon Lockridge was brought on to pinch run, like, fast guy at that point. So to put, again, Williams in a precarious situation where the Yankees had just battled back, Trent Grisham hit a pinch hit 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th to tie the game. I don't know why. I don't know who else there really was. You're lost in the moment of the game. You're just trying to get through it. And the game was so long. It was over 3 hours, which, I mean, I guess is long now. But I don't really support that decision. I'm glad that it worked out, because it has now shifted the conversation a little bit with Williams. It was a really big moment. The stadium erupted. It could be a confidence builder for him. But to go from what you did to him on Monday and then to put him in another situation like that on Wednesday, I'm just not sure that was a good call.
Yeah, you are putting Devin Williams' season on the line.
Yeah.
You are actively saying this either goes well or he's not allowed to pitch anymore. And he came through, and maybe getting the win on Tuesday allowed the Yankees to exhale as a group and just agree that this is now hey, fans are going to do what they're going to do, but we'll view this as an experiment and a testing ground and what have you. Or maybe Williams was right, and he said after the game, I felt great for 5 games now, and the wet weather obviously affected me, but it didn't change my mindset. He had some good quotes after the game, and maybe that's accurate, because he was awesome. And even in the wet weather, he struck out Fernando Tatis Jr. Not that you don't get a participation trophy for getting 1 out in a game that you blew, but he looked awesome in this one, and he had not just a runner in scoring position, but bases loaded, 2 outs, full count to Xander Bogaerts, who kills the Yankees. Not only did this come down the most pressure-filled situation of the season to date, even more so than opening day, I would say, against his old team. It was close, though. That was a win you had to have. But bases loaded, 2 outs, full count pitch to Xander Bogaerts, and somebody who traditionally will just poke one through the hole and score 2 and send the Yankees to the showers. He's been doing it for a decade. And he executes the perfect changeup. He threw some great changeups in the zone previously. That was the best one, right below the zone, exactly what that pitch has to do. A lot like the one that got Jackson Chourio on opening day and changed the trajectory of that inning. So I learned, and we all learned, that he has it in him. And then the Yankee, what do they do in the bottom half of the inning after getting out of the top half? Something they never do. Oswaldo Cabrera comes in with a free runner on second, bunts. Perfect bunt. Executed. All you need from JC Escarra is a fly ball to the outfield. Easier said than done, right? Manny Machado couldn't do it the inning before. Not that simple. You can't just say, hey, go up, especially a player with all the experience of Escarra, 30 at-bats. It's not easy to be like, just go hit a fly ball. Come on, game will end. Not simple. Manny Machado failed at that job 10 minutes prior. And Escarra, credit to him, gets the job done, breathes, goes with the outside pitch and
did it with 2 strikes too.
2-strike pitch, went with it, figured out a way to get the job done. But the Yankees did take the highest probability road to success in the bottom of that inning. Only need 1 run, bunt, and manufacture the run. Easier said than done, but they did it. And I think credit strategically for trying and making it as simple as possible, given the struggles that this team has historically had in extra innings, particularly on the road. But it's not that easy for them at home either. They avoid the blow-up inning in the top of the 10th, and they go ahead and execute in the simplest manner they could and win the baseball game in the bottom of the inning. About 45 minutes to an hour after the Mikal Bridges steal, which was the Knicks once again take the most impossible route to a victory. They do not take the easiest way in. They go down by 20. They get down by 20 even later than they got down by 20 in the previous game, which is the only reason that Monday's blown save was bearable, because it came about a half hour after the crazy Knicks win in Boston. Are the Knicks going to win the series? I don't know. Are the Yankees going to win the World Series? I don't know. But I'll take the walk-off wins. I will take the Mikal Bridges moment. I will take the overall shift in vibes. I'll take where I'm at right now on an off day for both teams on this Thursday. I'll bask in this because this feels incredible.
Yeah, if there was any way the Yankees could have repaired whatever had happened. Like, look, like last night, you have Judge's fielding error too, like overlooking a lot of things that 2 nights ago, you had Oswaldo Cabrera popping up a sack bunt attempt, which had everybody up in arms, and then thankfully they erupted for a 10-run inning. So it ended up not being a topic of conversation, but all you have to do is simply deliver every once in a while to have these talking points just go away. Are we talking about Aaron Judge going 1 for 13 in this series and committing an error? No, don't even care at this. Like, even if it's a sign of bad things to come, it's not. But even if it were, I don't care. Those are the 2 most exciting wins that this team has had this season. And they came at a really pivotal point because you look at how they started the year and how promising it looked and how it appeared as if they were overcoming all these issues. And then they cough it up and they give it all right back. And then you look up 35 games in, and they're 19-16. And you're like, well, that sucks. That's not cool. The Yankees have also played 37 games, so I don't know where my math has come from before. I said 44.
It was 35 when we were in the mess. Like, it was 35 after the 5th blown game after the 8th inning this year. So 35 sticking in my mind, but 2-0 after that moment of despair.
Yeah, it's great. Like, you're complaining at 19-16, and I think that that's absolutely valid because of, again, they gave 5 games. They gave 5 games away after the 8th inning with the lead. And then they probably gave 3 other games back with just malfeasance. And then now you have 2 of the most exciting wins of the season, and you're 21-16, and it feels a lot better. And the Red Sox lose that series to the Twins over the weekend. We were laughing about that on Monday, but like the Yankees are getting a lot of favors right now from teams that are deciding not to step up or unable to step up. So that's why you're sitting there and you're like, this should be better. This team is actually proving that it's more athletic and better defensively and more fundamentally sound than last year. Aaron Judge is having literally continuing an historic stretch dating back to last year's regular season. So why does it feel like things aren't better? And I think that it was valid to be upset about that because you're essentially wasting the production you've gotten from Max Fried and Carlos Rodon, or at least it felt that way. And you're not maximizing what Aaron Judge is doing, batting fucking .415 in May. Like, you need to be better than 3 games over 500 if those pieces and if those pieces are all coming together. And like, you look at the rest of the lineup, right? We went through last week how many guys they had with average or close to average / above average OPS pluses. And like last year it was 2 and this year it was like 7. And you're just sitting there and you're like, why? How is this not translating into more success? And that's where, again, the DNA aspect of it comes in. Like, they need to buckle up when the games start to get tight, or when the opponent starts coming back, or the situation gets a little bit more high leverage. And we complained about that after about a week and a half of seeing the worst happen. And now they dig deep and they bring us 2 satisfying victories, proving that they can be resilient and overcome whatever it was. And look, like, this is just a nice little reprieve from whatever has happened. This does not mean the door is closed on the Yankees' late inning malpractice. This does not mean the door is closed on questionable managerial decisions. This does not mean the door is closed on poor situational hitting and fundamental instincts. Like I said, we just saw bunt pop-up and bizarre bullpen decisions this week, but it shows that it's there. So they got to harness that. They got to bring it for the rest of this stretch until they can get these players back from injury, and they'll be in a really good position, because if they can prove that they can overcome these tests early, it's going to be very advantageous for later in the season, when the games do matter and they don't choke and fall flat on their face, and we don't have to get laughed at for once. That'd be nice.
That would be great. It's a lot like the early part of the Yankee season has been a lot like these couple of Celtics games. Not to, again, basketball, great, by the way, basketball rules. But especially game 2, where the Celtics are missing just so many. They go 10 for 40 from 3 or whatever, but the Knicks are still down. And you're like, can you just not waste this opportunity where your opponent is bricking 3 after 3? Can't you run away? Can't you take a lead? And they regroup and win the game essentially at the buzzer. And so they do the job. You don't leave that game regretting all that they left on the table while their opponents look like shit. And that's kind of where we were at 19 and 16. Like, they're in first place in the AL. The Red Sox can't get above 500 and keep losing. The Red Sox playing the easiest schedule in the world, and they should be 25 and 5, but they're 500 instead because they can't take series from the Twins. And the Orioles are at the basement, and the Jays and Rays are exactly where we thought they'd be. A couple games under 500. Maybe someday they'll be a couple over, and then maybe someday they'll be 10 under. Like, they look as bad as we thought they did. They are okay. The Jays have pieces. The Rays have Chandler Simpson. Like, they are what we thought they were, but the Yankees aren't pulling away. And you're like, well, this isn't gonna help because somebody's gonna get better. Red Sox are gonna get better. Orioles are gonna get better from where they are right now. Maybe their pitching is insanely bad, but you definitely don't want to be watching all of the teams in the AL East bricking threes, knowing that you could have put some distance between you and the rest, and you just didn't do it. Look, it's going to be frustrating that the Yankees are not matching their Pythagorean, that they're not like, they don't have those 3 more 8th inning wins banked at the very least. They could be 5-6 games up in the East in early May. They could have the best record in the American League. They don't. They have a tough month. They're going to Sacramento, which is not an easy task. The A's have called up pretty much every top prospect they have who's playing well. They look like a competent major league team. Not great, but competent. And the West
They're
Coast
above 500.
Yeah, they were further above 500 before Seattle pulled their devil magic on them, but they're a 500 plus team right now. Yeah. The Mariners are probably the best team in the American League other than the New York Yankees, depending on how you view the Yankees. We're going to them for 3, coming back for the Mets. Not simple. Got to sort of tread water here a little bit.
We rule in Seattle, though.
We do.
And maybe we rule in Sacramento. And we don't have to go to Oakland. In Oakland, we suck.
It's never forget how much we sucked in Oakland, and now it's over forever. So that's great. We'll never see that again. Sorry, Oakland fans. Not worth it, but worth it. But yeah, you don't want to waste that opportunity. And they now officially, I would say, they reached that inflection point after Monday's game, and they got off the mat and they started to change the narrative at least a little bit. It's 2 games. And it's one of the games that they could have given away both of those. They could have gotten swept in this series, but it's important that they didn't. Knicks could be down 0-2 right now. Knicks pod. Like, that's sports. That's so many fun arguments start with that too. Without Aaron Judge, the Yankees offense would be ranking X in terms of key stats. All right, well, good thing they fucking signed Aaron Judge. Like, the short porch. I got into a short porch argument yesterday because
I just can't.
Well, it's just like everyone comes at you with the same argument, and they just again, I don't like something I never
What got
do.
porched? Aaron Judge's opposite field home
Aaron
run?
Judge hit an oppo shot that a Barstool guy tweeted, this should not be a home run. And I was like, no, it should be, because that's where the wall is. Hope that helps. And both teams get to use the wall. So hope that helps. And then you get 100 mongrels in your mentions being like, do both teams get to use the wall for 81 games per year? It's like, I don't know, but I know the Yankees have an opponent in all of their home games. So does it really fucking matter if the opponent gets to use it 3 times versus 81? There's another team on the field in every Yankees home game.
It was also
the Yankees are building the roster to the advantage of the short porch. Sure are.
Sure, yeah.
That's how teams do stuff.
Also, Aaron Judge doesn't go oppo a whole ton.
We also know that the park factors even out because of the alleys. Right now, Yankee Stadium is 10th best in baseball in terms of overall offensive environment creation, and that's higher than it usually is. Usually it's like 15th or 16th. So 10th.
Yeah, usually they're right in the middle.
Yeah, they're 10th right now, and Fenway is number 2 behind Coors Field.
Yeah,
but you've got a fleet of Red Sox fans coming to
If Coors Field didn't exist, Fenway would be number 1 by a landslide, and Coors Field is number 1 by a landslide simply because of the climate.
And yet I don't hear anybody saying that the Red Sox have an inherent advantage with the Monster because everybody could bang fly balls off the Monster. Although, what do the Red Sox do? They stack their lineup with hitters like Tyler O'Neill, who can just pop balls up over the Monster. That's
Alex Bregman.
That's how they build their team. Alex Bregman's there to do exactly that. The Yankees have a guy who uses Yankees have a guy who uses the short porch at the Crime. But if the Red Sox sign free agents who can use their stupid monstrosity wall, that's smart roster building. All right, great. I mean, you hate the Yankees. It's okay. You hate them. Everybody gets to use the wall.
Yeah, and you have the pesky pole, which is what, 297 feet to a home run.
Yeah, I believe it's 142 feet down there.
Judge's home run. Look, I don't know what right field dimensions look like in other parks, or like what the average is, but his home run went 341 feet. I feel like that's not nothing. And then like all the other home runs that went to right field were Austin Wells 375. That's a fucking bomb. Trent Grisham went 390. I mean, that's a home run. I don't care what anyone says about that. Bellinger 373 feet. That's a home run. Grisham 387 feet. Those are all fucking home runs. Why are we talking about this? I hate this.
Not fair. Not fair. They move the wall back when the opposing team hits.
Yeah, and you have the Red Sox with the most hitter-friendly park in the league, and then you have the Orioles who keep changing ballpark dimensions because they suck. So keep blaming the Yankees. Sure.
Yeah, I'd rather be me than keep changing my
wall.
Look,
it's just here's the point. The point is that there is a million reasons that you can make fun of the Yankees, and ballpark factor is just not one. So just be creative. It's more fun when the insults like hurt. This doesn't hurt. It's just annoying me to talk about it.
And it would be great if there were zero reasons to make fun of the Yankees, but there are not. There are still some. That sucks. What was your favorite moment of the redemption portion of this series? Devin Williams, Trent Grisham, revenge, Max Fried, stabilizing things. Rodon didn't get what he deserved in this series. I want to just say the name Carlos Rodon again because the Yankees, maybe for the last month, have had the two hottest pitchers in the American League in Fried and Rodon, and that's incredible. The Escarra redemption. I mean, so much going on in games 2 and 3 of this series. And Rodon in game 1 deserves his flowers. He may not get them on other podcasts, but he's getting them here. He's getting them pretty much every time we've done a podcast since that Giants game. Another game I attended. So again, I'm not allowed to go to baseball games, but unless I'm there, Carlos Rodon looks fucking awesome. So who's your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Do they all sort of stand out tied? I mean, it's tough to pick.
I mean, I really enjoyed watching Max Fried last night. I really did. I love watching him. I'm surprised. I'm so shocked that he's this good because I feel like every time I watched him when he was on the Braves, it was a mixed bag, or like he would leave injured. I don't know if that was just my bad luck tuning into Braves games or just catching whatever games I could. But I mean, it's Bellinger for me, man. That was a massive hit. Yeah. The home run, like he's back against the wall, 0-2 count. Like Dylan Cease struck out Aaron Judge 3 times.
Dylan Cease was as good as a pitcher can be in that game.
Literally, like he was at 80 pitches almost through 7. Yeah. And you were like, this is fucked. We're fucked. Yeah. So the fact that he guessed correctly, which was incredible, and he caught up to the high fastball, like that was not a bad pitch for anybody watching. Like
nothing
that was
wrong
a great
with that
pitch. How many other we saw somebody else, it might have been Bebos or somebody else swinging a pitch over their head and like their helmet fell off. Like Dylan Cease was dealing, and that was a great that was an incredibly located pitch. He had the intention behind it was very clear. He was getting Cody Bellinger to chase on a fastball, which he might have been guessing 0-2, and in a very unfavorable spot to turn your hands in on and get the barrel of the bat on. Cody Bellinger destroyed it for 373 feet to tie the game. And that breathed life back into everything. Like you saw how the bench was celebrating after that. They were so relieved to not be no hit anymore. The stadium erupted because, again, that was crazy enough to say they were only down 1-0 being no hit. So it speaks volumes to, again, what Max Fried was able to do against one of the best lineups in baseball. Like Jackson Merrill got him, and Jackson Merrill's really friggin' good, so you can't really fault him for that, but neutralized the rest of this lineup. Didn't walk a single batter, but Bellinger needed that, man. He's batting .215 with a .388 slugging. Like he's still not there, and I don't know if he's going to get there. We've seen the Cody Bellinger struggles over the last few years since he's injured his shoulder, and like when he's bad, it's really bad, and sometimes he just doesn't come back from it. But that was a big moment. Hopefully unlocks a little bit more for him. And there were a lot of moments here, but for someone like him, who if he just gets going a little bit, this team's completely different. It's completely different. Pitchers approach it differently. The Yankees are viewed a lot differently. Like if Cody Bellinger is playing a semblance offensively to his former MVP self, like more people are talking about the Yankees. That's just the way it is. And he's not there yet. Hopefully this helps him get back.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about him because he's the outfielder who's most deserving of being benched at this moment in time. With Grisham. Grisham has 10 homers. You can't bench him. I want to see Jason Dominguez develop. They have enough runway that like you can give Jason Dominguez some development time. And maybe he shouldn't be a switch hitter anymore, but he's been awesome from one side of the plate. And Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. So I'm trying to default to taking Cody Bellinger out when I can, especially if Giancarlo Stanton's going to come back at the end of the month. And then I'm going to have to split DH between him and Ben Rice. And maybe Stanton's not coming back as quickly as he thinks he does. The BP session kind of looked like it was in slow motion yesterday. But either way, Bellinger on the hot seat and needs performances to save him. Or he's just earned so much latitude that Dominguez is going to get squeezed out anyway, and I'll get mad. But I need to see a spark from Bellinger. And this series, and especially last night, was a start of that. The OPS is creeping towards 700 now. It's at 676. That's ahead of his worst LA seasons, which were 542 and 654. So maybe, just maybe, we are getting closer to where we need to be. He has not felt unplayably bad, but he obviously has not made much of a difference. He's
great in the field. So I think that it alleviates it really gives some people leeway because of how bad this defense has been over the last few years, where it's like, all right, if you're covering ground and you're saving outs, then like it's fine. It for the most part, it's fine. Like, yes, you're right. We could argue, why is Jason Dominguez getting benched against a right-handed starter and Cody Bellinger is not? Cody Bellinger is somehow not hitting righties this year. So it's like, that's the easy decision to make, but Aaron Boone's not doing that. He benched Jason Dominguez 3 times in an 8-day span against righty starters. So like that conversation started creeping up, but Jason Dominguez doesn't make the tough plays. There was a tough play in this series. Should he have made it? I don't know. Could he have made it? Yeah, but he didn't, and he doesn't. He doesn't make tough plays. So you structure the outfield where I guess you're going to feel most comfortable, where you're going to save outs, and Cody Bellinger does that. So I think that's bought him more grace than honestly I expected with the fans.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I give Devin Williams my MVP trophy for this series.
That's nice.
Ultimately, which nice again, guy. I mean, for game 3 of this series, not for the overall series. He is not the MVP of the series, but his redemption stood out most to me.
Yeah.
So because it encompassed the best and worst of him. He had it's hard to say what Devin Williams' worst outing of the year is, but I would say that this was the one that came most out of nowhere in terms of this game was just slumbering along. The rains were coming. You're like, I think the Yankees, rain, it's tough to navigate, but I think the Yankees can get this one to the finish line. Wait, why is Devin Williams in the game? And oh, here we go. This looks like a Devin Williams game. Followed by, he cannot come into this extra innings game. And yet he did. And yet he made a meal out of it. That was a Top Chef winning challenge by Devin Williams, getting out of that jam. And the way he did with, yes, he hit Jackson Merrill. And yes, he put runners on. He walked a guy again. But he did a splendid job of pitching around and retiring Tatis,
3 strikeouts,
Machado, Bogarts, all strikeouts, all brand names, and the fire breathing at the end was 100% earned. And yeah, did I think he was getting out of that? Weirdly, I did, probably because of the Knicks game. But shout out to Devin Williams, who was out of control, good in the third game after being not the sole reason they lost. He and Luke Weaver tag teamed in the first one, but brutal game. And the umpires deserve blame as well for letting that game continue into the slop. But good job, Devin Williams. Hopefully first of many, hopefully actually a pivot point that turns the season around rather than just being another very strange moment in a bizarre year for someone who just has to be baseline competent for the Yankees to benefit from the trade. And they would be 3 more games over, onto their win side of their ledger if he had just been baseline competent. So fingers crossed for the best moving forward. One piece of housekeeping this week, the Yankees have ditched Carlos Carrasco, although this may be the last podcast we do without Carlos Carrasco on the roster because Aaron Boone hinted this may not be the end of the road for him. We may see him again. We knew they were hesitant to sacrifice any sort of pitching depth at this point in time. I understand why. Definitely understood why to start the season, but replacement level doesn't even begin to describe it for Carlos Carrasco right now. Ryan Yarbrough came in and took a 4-inning spot start and was great. Can you expect 4 great innings out of Carlos Carrasco at any point for the rest of the year? I don't think that you can. When he was used in borderline mop-up duty and then given an extra inning of mop-up duty on Sunday, I think it didn't take much speculation to be like, oh, I think that might be the end of this. And is it Yarbrough forever? Probably not. Is it Alan Winans at some point? That would be interesting. Clark Schmidt took a big step forward in his start on Tuesday. I'm less worried about the pitching now than I was when Carrasco was coming in looking like slop in back of Will Warren. But yeah, the Yankees can't afford to get rid of viable pitching, but they have 2 viable starters at this point in Winans and Yarbrough, who are more trustworthy than Carrasco. So if he comes back to the organization, if he hangs out at AAA, fine, so be it. But had to happen. And Yerry De Los Santos looks like a useful piece also in the bullpen, whereas that was currently being occupied by, like we were talking about the other day, just pure roster chum, the kind of person that you can roster if you have an incredible staff and just want somebody to soak up innings and blowouts, which the Yankees don't have that luxury. Now they have a guy I would use in a 3 or 4 run game in De Los Santos. And you might lose, and it might not work,
sure,
but I'd rather use him than Carrasco. Upgrade. Fine.
Yeah, I mean, this. I will say, though, the carousel can't go on much longer. I'm going to start questioning if they can do a June trade with somebody. Pirates are dead in the water, essentially. I don't think that a new manager is going to turn their fortunes around at this point. I think it'll help, but it's not going to dig them out far enough to where they've gotten themselves for them to be contenders. I don't think that's a hot take either. The Marlins are going nowhere, the Rockies are going nowhere, and the White Sox are going nowhere. So there's got to be somebody, and not Sandy Alcantara because he has an 8 ERA, and it's just
no, don't do it.
And look, I would take him, but the Marlins are not selling low at this point. So either way, something's got to happen in June. You can't wait until the deadline when everybody's going to be bidding. Like, overpay a little bit now, give someone an enticing offer for a package. Could it be another reliever and another starter for, I don't know what you give up. It's tough. The Yankees are in a difficult spot. We talked in the offseason about potentially trading Ben Rice for a good starter. And look, that would have been bad for us because Ben Rice has been absolutely massive for the offense. So I don't know what it is. You have Spencer Jones on the IL right now. I don't know if they were even considering trading him, but that's a bit of an issue. The Yankees don't want to part with a lot of their top guys because their farm system is top heavy. Either way, there has to be some sort of patchwork deal you can make without giving up an arm and a leg to just keep the train rolling through the end of July. Again, don't know what it looks like. I know the Pirates have a lot of pitching, and they definitely have contracts that they would like to get off of. Yeah. I know Mitch Keller's probably one. Again, don't know what that would look like. But the Yankees,
I don't want the Heen dog. I don't want the Heen dog. I don't want him either. I want righties. No. I want righties. I don't want Bailey Falter.
Yeah. So maybe Mitch Keller is what we're looking at. Yeah. And the Yankees take on all the salary. The Pirates are having an attendance problem, so it's like not out of the realm of possibility where they have to get rid of the guys that they're paying right now. And Mitch Keller obviously has no long-term future with the organization, especially if they can't even figure it out with the young pieces that they have right now. So
can we trade them attendance? Is that possible? Like we can give up a piece for Mitch Keller and then also sentence the 20,000 worst Yankee fans we know to go watch every Pirates game.
That would be awesome. That really would be awesome. That's
sorry, guys. Hate to have to do this to you, but it's a beautiful stadium. But the team,
baseball gerrymandering. We gerrymander the little districts and get the fans in the stands. Hey, it could work. Bring Andrew McCutchen back. I don't know.
There are some weird options that are going to be available.
There are.
Trade deadline, and it's like all people you don't want to see, like Sonny Gray. Like it's a lot of like, oh, got to rule that out. Like that's a no-go from the jump. Eric Fetty has a 4.78 ERA while we weren't looking. Like pairing Nolan Arenado with Ryan Helsley is fun, but it doesn't solve any of your starting pitching woes. Like there are moves to be made, but I don't like most of them.
I don't like most of them either, but like I don't know what the other option is. Just keep cycling dudes in from AAA to like maybe one from hits.
Luis Severino?
They're not trade. Why would they trade him?
They wouldn't, and he's on like a 3-year contract. But
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like
good.
2 options.
Was I mistaken? I saw the Rockies have a solid bullpen this year. I don't know. Could be another one. They're 6-29. It's like the worst. It's the worst situation in the league by far.
I hate them. I hate that they exist.
Yeah, Max Meyer on the Marlins. Would they do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look. Either way, it's going to be. We saw what happened this first month, right? We did what we could. Admittedly, like we didn't. I don't think we were overly harsh. We said when Carlos Carrasco came out of spring training, there's nothing we can do here. All these guys got injured. We were projecting this guy to be our 8th or 9th starter. He's now our 5th. I literally don't know what to tell you. There's nothing else that can be done. We gave it 6 weeks. It didn't really work. He's either gone or going to be hanging out at AAA depth. But again, the Yankees AAA depth is not good enough to spend the next 2 to 3 months just throwing guys in for random starts. Marcus Stroman threw a bullpen. He could face live hitters on this weekend or something. But again, like they're clearly over him. Very, very evident. So they got to figure out a way to get creative. Maybe they go into somebody else's AAA team and take on some of the overflowing depth there pitching wise and see if that works. I don't know, but this is it's already as precarious as it's going to be. And like one more injury and you're looking at like, I don't know what we're doing. So that's why it's got to happen sooner than later. And again, like Texas Rangers did this year, they won the World Series. They acquired Aroldis Chapman and what was it? Chris Stratton, I think.
2023.
Yeah, they went out from the Cardinals. They went out and they got these acquisitions in June to just avoid, and they overpaid. I will say they absolutely overpaid for both of those deals. You go back and you look at them and you're like, wow. But guess what? They won the World Series because they beat everybody to the punch. They knew their needs. They were honest with themselves. And, they could have paid even more had there been more teams lining up a month later. So I know Brian Cashman likes to get his value for value and he doesn't like to overpay, but I don't know if I say it every year, but I really don't know if this is the year where you do that because it's going to be another year you piss away because you didn't have enough pieces.
Yeah, I was never madder at Cashman than I was at the 2023 deadline when they just didn't pick a lane. And I will rival
Middleton.
I mean, just like that's a parody of like this team wasn't good, but if you believe in them, then do something. But if you don't believe in them, and you probably shouldn't sell pieces. And it was just like, we got Keenan Middleton, you fucks. It was like, oh, great. I don't know what that means. And I'm not going to be furious if they don't act proactively here and pull off that surprising early season trade. Yeah, they did get Stratton closer to the deadline, but they got Aroldis Chapman way early, and they got him in the system, and they jumped the line. So I'm not going to be like fuming if they can't, leap the line and start making things work and start making moves. But I would say you need to get another starting pitcher in, another competitor, someone with a higher upside than Carlos Carrasco, which is not that hard. Aroldis Chapman joined the team on July 1st. He was activated, but I feel like he was traded way earlier than that. I don't know why I can't find it. Anyway.
Carrasco?
Yeah. No, Aroldis Chapman.
Oh, Chapman was traded. What'd you say?
July 1st, he was activated by the Rangers.
Yeah, I think it was the end of June. It took a few days.
Might have been June 30th. Yeah, June 30th it went through. So that was accurate. But yeah, look, if that's what proactive is, then great. That's what you're going to have to do. I'm not going to scream if the Yankees don't make early moves, but you should be scouring the wires for pitching right now, and I'm sure they are. And you should be scouring the wires for upgrades on Carrasco, who's now off the 40-man roster and just hanging out at AAA if he clears, which he may not. The Yankees have made some weird roster moves so far this year. Yoendris Gomez already DFA'd by the Dodgers. Adam Ottavino was on the set of SNY the other day. So you've got a guy who was DFA'd by the Yankees 2 weeks later is just doing television. That shows who the Yankees have been relying on to eat up the back end of their innings. And Carlos Carrasco, probably not going to be on anybody else's major league roster anytime soon. So you should have been looking for upgrades already. You should continue to be. And this is a deadline when if you are not active, I believe in this Yankees team to the extent where I'm already pretty confident they should be trying to make major upgrades by bringing in major league talent and paying whatever it takes to do that. You do not have Garrett Cole. When Garrett Cole does come back, he's going to be out of his prime. He's going to be still useful, probably, but out of his prime. Can't rely on him. Can't rely on, how many Max Fried seasons are you going to get that look like this? Are you even going to get this Max Fried season to the end of the year? How long will this Carlos Rodon season last? Will Clark Schmidt, will Luis Gil come back? There are so many questions. You know how you answer them? Overpaying in trades. You simply have to. So if Brian Cashman does not make moves in a weakened American League with a chance to get back to the World Series, with a chance to play the Dodgers or somebody else, get your revenge, or face an easier opponent, because the Dodgers are a little bit iffy, you need to take advantage of that opportunity. Bar none, done. I'll be as angry as I was in 2023 if they don't make serious moves. Last year, I would say they made serious moves, and then on trade deadline day, they made some decidedly unserious moves to finish a trade deadline, and that ended up being in between. This time around, jump the line, do a Jazz Chisholm trade 5 days early, and then on deadline day, get 2 more relievers and a starter. Like, don't mess around.
Just do it.
Just do it. Jonathan Loizaga coming back. So,
how long is he? I saw he threw. He had a good bullpen session or something.
Yeah, he did. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's not going to be until June because 60. Is he 60 dayed? They kind of know.
Yep. He's 60
he's on the 15. He's on the 15.
Wait, what? No, he's not. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Somebody else went on the 60 day.
A JT Broken Ribs Brubaker is on the 60 day. I know that.
That was the 60 day. That was like, God damn it. Are you kidding?
Let's just Scott Efros is with the FCL now, by the way. I'm sure. Say hi to Scott Efros. I'm sure we'll be seeing him soon. They want Loizaga to make 6 appearances, with the last one coming on consecutive days, but he did strike out 2 in 2 innings of scoreless relief at Scranton this week. DJ LeMahieu went 2 for 3 yesterday. He's 9 for 19 with a bomb, a double, and a 107-mile-an-hour single. So he'll be your second baseman pretty soon. Until that's not the only meaningful change we hope to see by the end of the year, though. Again, we need some genuine upgrades midseason. The Yankees have proven that they're worth it, if by no other reason than just existing in an American League East that is for the taking, and a league that is for the taking. So go out and get it. Build on this Padres series. And New York Knicks, do something at home. Try to win at least one of these 2 games. Maybe you can finish this off in 6 if we're lucky. Knicks haven't had a home closeout in a postseason series since 1999. So, hey, maybe just take 1 at home and then finish it out in game 5 on the road. I don't make the rules. I just want to see you succeed. I want to see you thrive. I love you, New York Knicks, and maybe love you too, New York Yankees. We will see you back here on Monday afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern, here on the Yanks Go Yard podcast, and on all podcast platforms in the aftermath if you like audio. I'm Adam Weinrib. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Weinrib. Thomas Carannante. Where can the people find you?
Per usual, at Tommy's_takes. We are both at the official Yanks Go Yard account. That is at Yanks Go Yard FS. Here we go. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Head on over to yanksgoyard.com. That's where all the written content is. We're having a good time. A lot of stuff out there. Theories, prospect updates, roster moves, you name it. We're having a good time. Series against the A's coming up tomorrow. Then next week against the Mariners. Then back home. This is good momentum. You get an off day here. Some of these guys get to recharge the batteries after some rough offensive showings. Because really, if you just take out the 10-run inning, there was a lot of struggles in this series against, again, a team that has good pitching. So hopefully that does them well. But let's go Yanks. Very inspiring last 2 days. Got to be happy with it. Hopefully it was a test that they passed, and now they can further grow upon. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm thrilled. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the off day, and then maybe have some beers tomorrow and watch the good old Sacramento A's.
Sacramento A's, late night. Hopefully no rain. Don't want that game starting at 3 a.m. Eastern. I'll take 10 o'clock. Sacramento A's versus New York Yankees, New York baseball Yankees. Knicks on Saturday. Have yourselves a weekend. We'll see you on Monday. And as always, let's win baseball games. Let's win basketball games. Winning greater than losing. So let's keep doing winning. Catch you on Monday.